What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. Of course, we know it's the day of the weigh-in. That's not what I want to talk to you guys about. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. These guys picked up where they left off in 2018 because there was a lot of trash talk, there was a lot of animosity, there was a lot of excitement, a lot of build-up, and the beginning of these promotions, it seemed the total opposite until the final press conference, okay? So we know that these guys revamped all of the trash talk, all of the build-up. It was almost like they were saving it for this particular event. I know that takes energy. Like Deontay Wilder says, his tongue or his mouth was hurting after he finishes. So, you know, it's good to have another person that can promote the fight. But this is what I want to ask you guys. First of all, before we get there, Wilder and Fury press conference. Fury, I think, lost. He wasn't the same old Fury. I think he was more angry than he was clever. Deontay is just regular old Deontay, but he did bring up some key things, and he looked like he checked Tyson Fury. He looked like he won that press conference. Believe it or not, the number one pound-for-pound shit-talking person, heavyweight that we have was Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury was defeated that day. He was. Looking at the whole thing from its entirety, even though Deontay Wilder did say 6 feet inch nails. Even though he said that, he did, you know, shut Tyson up to the point where he silenced Tyson, you know, and it got to a point where basically they turned both mics off. So I think that was significant. However, this is what I want to talk to you guys about. I want to ask you guys a question concerning who brought who back into big time boxing. Was it Deontay or was it Tyson Fury? Because here's the thing. This is what the argument and where the argument started. Tyson Fury claimed that he introduced Deontay Wilder to big time boxing. Okay? Deontay Wilder claims that he drug Tyson Fury back into big time boxing by accepting the opportunity to fight him. Okay? So which one is it? Okay? Let's back up. Let's see. Well, Deontay Wilder did say Tyson Fury was finished. Deontay Wilder said that Tyson Fury was a good fighter, but he could never come back and do what he ever had to do to this day. And Tyson Fury admitted that hearing Deontay Wilder's words, that motivated him to get back to the gym, to get with one of his good friends, Ben Davison, to start shedding that weight off that he had gained. Okay? He was almost 400 pounds or 300 pounds or whatever. No, it was 400 pounds, right? And he said that Deontay Wilder got him back into, got him motivated to fight again. Okay? So that's a fact. Okay? We know that much. However, did Deontay Wilder drag him back into big time boxing? Or did Tyson Fury introduce big time boxing to Deontay Wilder? Well, knowing what we know, this is what you got to ask yourself. Where did Tyson Fury leave off? Tyson Fury left definitely in big time boxing, right? He fought Vladimir Klitschko, the 10-year reigning king, 28 title defenses. He upset that guy. Now, before he could fight that guy again, a lot of other stuff happened, okay, to save the argument of time's sake. Now, Deontay Wilder, he was the underachiever. He was the guy that was constantly adding bodies to his resume. People, unknown people, lower opposition. In fact, Vladimir Klitschko criticized him for fighting guys to lower opposition, and he needed to step up, which he didn't do until recently, the last couple years, okay, by fighting Ortiz and then, of course, Tyson Fury. But this is what we're talking about. Well, you have to ask yourself, was Tyson Fury a big-time boxer when he came back to the sport? That's the question. Because if Deontay Wilder, if Tyson Fury wasn't a big-time boxer, he had a name behind his person, but was he considered a big-time boxer when he came back to the sport? And the answer to that question is no, he wasn't. Tyson Fury was the experiment. Tyson Fury was the big question mark. He was that guy that we didn't know where he was. We just know where he's been. And where he's been was 3 years of all types of abuse and things of that nature. And he hadn't been anywhere. He hadn't fought anybody. He never defended his belt. But he did his last major fight. He did upset the king in a major way, because that's why it was what it was. Right? Now, that was a lackluster, okay? Deontay Wilder, being who he is and being who he was, hadn't really experienced big-time boxing. In fact, we know that Deontay Wilder could not introduce Tyson Fury back into big-time boxing because Deontay Wilder's never been a big-time boxer. He hasn't been a big-time boxer. Think about it. That was his first pay-per-view ever, okay? He came from Golden Boy to Premier Boxing Champions, and their whole platform was free TV. So he wasn't even marketed as a pay-per-view star, by that platform's own right. Okay, you can't judge Deontay for that. But we just know, due to the opposition, he wasn't fighting anybody. So we can't say that he introduced Tyson Fury back into the big time, but because Tyson Fury wasn't. So to answer the question, Tyson Fury, due to his layoff, wasn't a big-time boxer simply because he hasn't fought anyone. He didn't defend his title to become that big-time noticeable star. He's just a guy that beat the guy. Okay? Deontay Wilder was underachieving, didn't have many fights, didn't have a marquee fight really, right? But he was in negotiations with a guy that did, which was Anthony Joshua. Okay, now this is where it gets tricky. Now, the question is, in 2018, was Deontay Wilder's name big enough from the failed negotiations between him and Joshua to that point for them to be on pay-per-view? Well, you ask yourself this question. I would have to say yes. Why? Because if that was the case, Fury and Deontay Wilder alone, okay, would not be a part of pay-per-view. No one would want to mark them. But the buzz was in because the narrative of the $50 million, true or false, it was still an accusation by Team Wilder that they wanted to fight. So it's not even really the big deal of wanting or being a big-time star. It's the art of making people believe that you want to be a big-time star by fighting the big-time fighters. Because you think about it, he beat Ortiz. That was his first test. Tyson Fury, he drawed, but Tyson Fury was a little-known guy, but Tyson Fury earned his spot by the performance that he did in that fight and had one hell of a fight with Deontay Wilder. So basically, these guys kind of came together and helped each other, and they tag-teamed the idea of Joshua being scared, but Joshua was already on a level where these guys weren't. So I think that both of these guys helped each other, because Deontay Wilder, his negotiations with Joshua and how that was failed, but what could be was, hey, maybe that fight will happen, so people were more intrigued on seeing what will happen when Fury comes in. Everybody, like myself, he's been gone too long, he's going to get knocked out. But he does have the skill. And Deontay Wilder was still untested. Ortiz was too old, right? So that was the narrative. Ortiz was too old, skilled but too old legs, 137 years old, all that good stuff. Fury had the skill, but didn't have the experience or didn't have the had too much ring rust. Okay. So he didn't have enough rounds in the bank due to his abuse and all that stuff to even be a factor. But then again, he was. So they both really helped each other, tag team each other to get together on the idea that they are only fighting each other because Anthony Joshua, the guy that's already up here, wouldn't fight him, right? Or wouldn't fight Deontay. But Deontay knew, I need I need another name on my resume that suffices, that means something. Tyson Fury, that's the easiest way out. Not Dillian White, not Oscar Rivas, not any of those heavyweights at that time. None of those guys were mentioned, okay? Ortiz was the most dangerous at the time. So Ortiz, he got past Ortiz, so people really started looking at him closely, more closely. Then the negotiation with Anthony Joshua, then everyone started to look at these two guys, two undefeated guys, two heavyweight champions. Then all of a sudden, Tyson Fury, I'm back, Dulce. He comes back. And then he really puts a monkey in the wrench for himself. That's why he was able to sign an $80 million contract, right? That's why he was able to just tell the WBC where to go from a mandated fight with Deontay Wilder, and this was this time last year. That's why he was able to do that. And then that's why he's now, again, the mandatory, or supposedly the mandatory of this rematch. Wow. But anyway, I think these guys are arguing, oh, no, you know, I introduced you to big-time boxing. No, I brought you back to big-time boxing. Well, yes and yes, okay? Because Deontay Wilder did motivate Tyson Fury to come back to the sport. By the time he did fight Deontay Wilder, it was big-time boxing. So, yes, Deontay Wilder did, right? He did introduce him back into big-time boxing. But at the same time, Tyson Fury welcomed Deontay Wilder to big-time boxing because he had already been at that level. He just ain't been there in a very long time. You know, but the performance itself spoke for itself. Okay? So, case closing, to counterpunch it all in a nutshell, both of these guys helped each other out because one needed the resume and the other one needed the experience back into the ring, right? And then they both satisfied each other. That's what I think. That's why they're two good dancing partners. The styles, they're both awkward. One's fast, one's slick, one's cunning. The other one's powerful and awkward. So, yes, those guys needed each other. And guess what? Now they're making millions on top of Deontay Wilder was making crumbs before. You know? And I think they helped each other. Case in point. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Who introduced who? Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.